Hello and good morning everyone. Thank you for joining Jade Global today for the webinar on automating Oracle e-business suite testing. We have a very good crowd here today, which is wonderful. My name is Sangeeta Jash and I'm the Assistant Manager Marketing Communications at Jade Global and also your moderator today for this webinar. We have Amit Iyer here with us to discuss this topic in more details. I would like to tell you a little bit about our company. Jade Global is a leading information technology services and solutions provider. We deliver the right combination of business knowledge, product and technical expertise, project management and flexible delivery models to every engagement to ensure every client's long-term growth and success in business. For more information, please visit our website www.jadeglobal.com. Now I would like to introduce Amit Iyer. Amit is a consulting director at Jade Global. He heads the Technology and Engineering Services Group. He is an avid technologist and has a keen interest on how mobility and social is changing today's world and having a deep impact on how enterprises operate. I'll hand it over to Amit now, who will review the agenda and continue with the presentation. Over to you, Amit.
Thanks, Sangeeta. This is Amit. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. Thanks for registering. Appreciate your time. I basically head the Technology and Engineering Services line of business for Jade Global. And by that, we do a lot of innovation-led stuff. I just want to take a couple of minutes just to tell what we do. We do a lot of product development, sustenance, and support for our customers. We do a lot of technology services, which includes Microsoft Stack as well as Java and open source services. Then we do a lot of innovative mobility-led innovations, whether it's portals and content management, responsive websites, cloud-based solutions, or SaaS-hosted applications. However, today our focus is going to be around QA and testing, and specifically within that, how do we automate EBS? And I'm going to kind of share a solution that I'm really excited and proud of. It's basically what I think is an industry-first solution around open source testing for EBS. So please feel free to share your questions all through the presentation. I'm going to be running you through the agenda. So agenda is I'm going to be kind of jumping into talking about automation in a little bit, give a little bit background about what you should be considering typically before you embark on an automation strategy. And then thereby I'll kind of talk about more about e-business suite, how do we automate a typical Oracle e-business suite, and I'll talk about our trademark JAFT framework, its architecture, its integration, some benefits, and then we'll do a short video demo as well. We'll show you how we have kind of automated a simple quote-to-cash process using our framework. And then I'll kind of open up the session for QA, and we'll take it from there. Here's a quick summary of what we do in our QA practice. So basically there are three paradigms. So the functional part, the core testing, the manual QA, the bread and butter of the QA industry. The integration system testing, whether it's functional testing, regression testing, all of the kinds kind of have under our core testing practice. Then there is automation and tools, which is one of the areas we're going to be focusing in the slides beyond this. And within that, we have a lot of expertise around commercial tools as well as open source tools. However, today's focus is going to be around our open source tools based on the Selenium platform. And the third paradigm in our testing is around specialized testing, which people call as non-functional testing. So whether it's performance testing, whether it's mobile testing, usability, security, or even regulatory testing. We do regulatory testing for a lot of different domains. So it's a wide variety of testing portfolio that we have, and I'm going to from here skip on for this topic. I'm going to restrict myself to talk about automation. So I'm going to talk about why do you need automation and who needs automation and what we typically see in the industry. So as most of you also answered in the poll, one of the reasons why you kind of need automation is to save cost and time. That is one of your primary drivers. And it's also a lot of manual effort. You want to be kind of increasing reusability, you kind of need automation to be doing that. You want to save time, you want to, and most importantly, your business wants things faster. You want to reduce your SDLC cycle time, and you don't want manual efforts that typically goes between weeks and months. And it's and there's also other benefits out of doing automation, including better use of test resources, especially in an EBS system, which frankly with its dull UI is kind of boring to be testing a lot of forms, running through multiple fields, doing it for a lot of large data sets. And it makes absolute sense to go in the automation route for this. And the other part is you can also improve your accuracy using automation, because robots do the same thing day in, day out. whereas humans, they tend to get tired, they tend to get bored, they kind of skip tests, and it can get monotonous. Plus, you are under time pressures. Your business wants your release faster. So that's one of the reasons why we see automation kind of picking up largely in the industry, whether it's all kind of applications, including EBS or CRM applications. So who needs it? Really, automation is to software industry what robotics is to the automotive industry. It's no longer a good to have thing, it's a must have thing. Our release cycles are getting shorter. Our test cases are getting bigger. If we don't automate, we delay our release cycles. If we delay our release cycles, your time to market is longer and your business is not happy. Plus, we see a lot of different companies having different scenarios and problems. We see a lot of demand these days for automation of ERP and CRM systems. We're going to be talking about ERP a lot in the next slides. However, I just want to highlight a few other things. There's also a lot of browsers these days. You access your applications using multiple devices, whether it's mobile, whether it's your iPad, whether it's your Android tablets. You need to be testing your application across all of these browsers. Doing all of this manually is a huge pain. No testers like it. And also sometimes there are products requiring huge data sets and various combination of test data that needs testing. So it's that's when exactly automation helps. I'll talk about it in my next slides. What are the key considerations? So typically these are the 5 paradigms I advise all my customers, all my clients to think about before they embark onto an automation. You need to be clear about what is your automation scope. You need to prioritize. Automation is not a big bang exercise. It's an exercise that you do with time. You kind of continuously add into your automation suite and create a kind of regression suite that kind of is all encompassing. You need to be kind of preparing. You need to kind of having a clear ROI. And this is again one of the areas where we help our customers help them define their ROI. We kind of do an assessment in which you kind of tell, hey, here are the Oracle modules that you're going to be using extensively. Here are the modules which are not going to change significantly. So here are the test cases that are the primary candidates for automation at the first place. So that ROI in turn kind of defines what's the benefit, and you can kind of measure this on an ongoing basis. Also, degree of change is a very important parameter, because one of the things that I typically see is sometimes you hurriedly embark into an automation strategy, and what really happens then is you don't really evaluate whether the application is going to be changing fundamentally in the coming time. So if the application and the UI itself is going to be changing a lot, then it's probably not the right candidate for automation. So you need to be also very selective about choosing the right candidates for automation, and then eventually it's a case of running it and getting the ROI. Coming to the e-business kind of scenarios, like what do we see? What do we see as the typical challenges in the e-business suite? So lots of patches, there are lots of releases, business are constantly demanding enhancements, there are new rollouts, there are upgrades, there are major upgrades. There's a lot of pressure to do things faster. Plus the amount of test case coverage that is typically required in the EBS system is quite long. Some of the business processes and customizations can get really complex. Plus the forms in Oracle are extensive. There's a lot of fields that needs to get populated for test data. So it's kind of an ideal candidate for automation. However, the problem in the industry so far has been because of the nature of Oracle forms, we need very specialized kind of tools like an IBM RFT or an HP QTP kind of tool, which is kind of you pay heavy licensing costs, you pay heavy infrastructure costs upfront for some of these tools to kind of deploy and get an ROI. So even your ROI cycles becomes much longer. Whereas what we realized over our last several years of research and the amount of innovation we put into QA as well is we can do this in an open source world as well. So I'll come back to those solutions in my later slides, but these are some of the key imperatives I see typically in the Oracle e-business customers that we see. So what should be my testing considerations? Firstly, I need to have a very, very clear-cut ROI-based approach. An ROI-based approach can help IT convince the business that this is the right way to do things. It can help your CIOs, it can help the QA directors to kind of make the right business case in front of your customers, because you need your investments to pay off. So optimizing the testing effort, how do you reduce the cycle time? How do you select the right test cases to automate primarily? And how do you kind of align it to your roadmap? For example, you might be having an Oracle upgrade. There might be some certain modules that are going to undergo major changes. So you need to be waiting for these modules to go through these changes before you embark on an automation journey in some cases. So you need to be selective. You need to be aligning to your Oracle roadmap as well. And then there is also release priorities, stable functionalities. Some of the modules might have defects. Then there is also some of the core business processes which won't change. You need to kind of consider all these factors. And finally, and most importantly, we always believe no one shoe can fit all legs. We need to be selecting the right automation tools and framework. So we've been kind of benchmarking what we did across a lot of industry standard tools as to how they perform against our framework, and the result has been really exciting. So how would I typically go about the e-business automation strategy, right? I start off usually with a POC and ROI assessment. Sometimes the clarity is already comes from our customers, or sometimes we do an ROI assessment for them to kind of guide them. We do have a detailed ROI calculator in which we kind of gauge in all the manual efforts, the amount of customizations you have in your EBS modules, the different kind of modules in usage, where the usage is heavier, what kind of users, how are they distributed, what is the kind of load on the system. So there's a lot of complex parameters that we kind of consider during this evaluation step, and then rightly recommend to you the best approach. How do you kind of put in a regression testing suite, an automation testing suite incrementally? And then there is the design. So we are very core believers in having the right automation framework. Okay, I'll be spending the next few slides talking about the framework as well. But out there, it's all about how it's modular, how it's extensible, how it's really end to end. Then we embark on a development phase in which we kind of incrementally and in an agile mode hand over releases to the UAT team, or even the regression testing team, depends on how your scenario is, and they can kind of run these test cases themselves. So when I say end to end, it really means from your test management tools wherein your test cases exist, all the way till the fact that the bugs need to be raised after a testing, depending on whatever your bugs are that you find in the system. And then there is a case of ongoing maintenance and usage depending on different releases, depending on, and then the test case report generation and so on and so forth. I'll just briefly talk about maintenance as well. So what is maintenance in the case of an automation tool, right? So as long as your source system doesn't change, you don't really need to do any maintenance on your automation scripts. If your source UI changes, if you change your process, for example, if you have an order to cash process today and that process changes, obviously you need to automate your automation scripts as well and change it at the same time. So it's essential to be doing continuous maintenance as opposed to a one-shot automation project. So as and how you do your system enhancements, you need to keep in mind your automation enhancements as well. So that's really the only maintenance in an automation script. Otherwise, it's all robotic, as I said. So what is JAFT all about? JAFT is Jade Automation Framework. It's built on a combination of open source tools. We love open source. It's built on a combination of Selenium and Securely majorly, and it also has a lot of other open source components which I'll show in your next slides. What is this good for? It's good for because it's the industry first in automating your Oracle business suite. It has a lot of integrations. You don't have to pay license fees ever. It's easy to build, easy to deploy, easy to manage. So this is a slide which I call it like an architect slide. My architect loves to put in complex presentations around how the JAFT framework works, but I tend to simplify these things. So what is our framework and architecture based upon, right? So we based upon roles. Okay. So who are the key people who would be kind of running your automation framework? It will be your manual testers who would be kind of running this. It will be your developers who would be keen to figure out what are the bugs that gets raised. Then it will be a QA manager or director who wants to see all the report. He wants to see the end-to-end, the top-down view of how many test cases have run, how many have passed, how many have failed, and things like that. So we kind of kept that usability aspect in place when we kind of cooked up this architecture over a period of time. So it's taken us a long while to get to here. So we have kind of continuously improved our architecture all along this way. So this is where we kind of differentiate ourselves. So when you say that a developer wants QA bugs to be detailed, right? He wants to understand really what was the log, why did it fail? So he needs screenshots, he needs debugging information. So he needs this all as soon as possible. It doesn't make sense for him to again retesting the application when he wants to kind of understanding the bugs and things like that. So that's when some of the modules like a logger module or a data transfer object comes into picture. What does a manual tester want? A manual tester wants an automation ability to automatically recognize different objects. Oracle Forms has a lot of different objects, whether it's checkbox, it's reusable library objects, pop-ups, different fields with different values that you need to enter. Most importantly, there is a lot of different data sets that you need to enter in certain forms. You need to be testing positive and negative test cases, and it's painful for a manual tester to kind of continuously putting in all those data in, typing in, testing in the, checking in the database, checking the UI, ensuring the sanctity and the validation and verification part. So all of this, we believe, can be automated, and that's what JAFT architecture is all about. Then what does a QA manager want? A QA manager or a QA director, he wants automated reports, he wants a summary, he wants a dashboard. Now, I have seen many projects in which the application in question is automated. You end up running a few thousand cases in an automated fashion, but then you have such a large amount of data and log files and reports to go into and check that you kind of half of the effort that you have spent in automation is lost because there is so much data for you to decipher and then create bugs manually, all of that stuff. So I think it's time to bid adieu to some of those things. I think it's time to kind of think about end-to-end automation. Why can't an automation framework pick up test cases from a test library, run those automatically against multiple source system, whether it's EBS also integrated to multiple systems that you would have, or an EBS integrated to a CRM system, and then automatically raise defects on your bug tracking tool. That would be beautiful. And then how about getting an email at the end of it saying, here are the list of your 1,000 test cases that's run, out of which 990 have passed, but there are these 10 problems you need to fix. And those 10 problems get raised as detailed bugs, with detailed logs, detailed screenshots picked at runtime, picked at that point of time when it had actually failed, and raised to your bug tracking tool, whichever your bug tracking tool is, whether it's something like a Bugzilla or whether it's like a Jira. So that's what was our motivation when we created this architecture. We wanted real, true end-to-end automation. We don't wanted the manual tester to kind of running an automated test case and then ending up a lot of time just on trying to figure out what is right, what is wrong in that. And we decided that from the day one that we wanted to kind of build it in open source tools. We don't want to keep any license costs. That's what our customers love. So that's one of the reasons why we are currently embarking on a lot of migration projects. So there are customers more migrating from QTP to Selenium. There are customers migrating from IBM RFT to our trademark framework. So it's an exciting journey for us. In some cases, I've had a business case where we save them $1 million purely just in licensing cost over a period of 3 years when they move in from a licensed tool to something like this, which is open source, it's available, it's easy, and it's all native languages. It's based on Java and JavaScript. The best part being it supports multiple browsers, including mobiles, including desktops, including your iOS and Android side. I've taken a lot of care, I've put in a lot of due diligence to make sure all of this works. This, I would say, is one of the key. I would say this is what makes JAFT beautiful. All these integrations in place, whether it's test management tools, whether it's bug tracking tools, whether it's continuous integration tools that you might be using at your environments today. We are continuously adding to our integration framework. The whole point of our architecture being modular and extensible was this advantage, wherein we are continuously integrating against newer tools all the time. So as we speak, we are increasing these integrations. So when you talk about continuous integration tools, we have the likes of Jenkins, Bamboo, and Hudson that we are already integrated to. As we speak to, if you're looking at test management tools today, if you're using Excel or if you're using something like a TestLink or TestRail, which are open source tools, we are already integrated to this. So if you're using an Excel for documenting your test cases, we can read from the Excel directly the test cases. Or if you want to get a bit more centralized kind of version or repository for test case management, we will recommend something like a TestLink. And then if you want to be raising defects automatically, we have multiple systems that we are already integrated to. And these are systems that we recognize are very, very widely used in the industry. Things like Bugzilla, Jira, Mantis, they are very, very common. And even if it's some other tool, proprietary tool that you're using today, as long as it supports integrations, we have all the web services ready, and these are readily integratable. This is a matter of hours and days to integrate newer tools. So this is really the beauty of JAFT, its ability to integrate, its ability to automate end to end. So what are the benefits really? Okay, so why do we say we need a framework, right? We need reusability. Okay, there might be forms, there might be objects which you have been using multiple times in your testing cycle. There might be data sets that you might be reusing. You won't want to have all those data sets in an Excel or a database from where you can simply pick up all that data and run it again. And maybe just have a simple script in the backend which also updates your database and kind of refreshes the instance, and kind of you run the whole regression suite like it's like a click of a button. So what we have done essentially is we have made automation like a click of a button. So it's highly scalable. It's significantly, what we have seen is we are able to reduce development time by about 30% if you benchmark ourselves against other industry tools. Then I already talked about the integrations. There are so many tools that it's already integrated with. And the best way to kind of show those integrations is by the video demo, which I'll do in the next few minutes. And then there is customized HTML reporting, whether it's an email summary that you want, or whether it's a detailed report that you want, whether it's a log that you want about all those exceptions that you found as when you are testing the system, or whether it's screenshots at the time of those defects. The actual defects also get traced on the defect tracking tool. So that's the beauty of this. So basically, the tester's job is click a button, go home, come back the next day. If it's a huge set of test cases, or if it's small, it can be done pretty much in minutes. If it's a huge set of test cases, he just clicks the button, goes home, comes back the next day morning, gets an email, the bugs are already raised in the system. All the developer has to do now is look at all those bugs with all those details, those logs, those screenshots that are already available to him, and fix the bugs faster. So basically it helps in reducing your SDLC. And the other benefit is obviously cross-browser testing. In many cases, probably not as much in the EBS scenario, but we see many of other applications. If you have custom applications that are integrated with EBS, there are a lot of different browsers that your enterprise might use. You might have multiple offices in multiple countries using multiple different browsers depending on user habits. So all of that can be automated. All of that can run concurrently. You don't need to be kind of sequentially testing it in Opera and then IE and then Safari or Firefox and then iOS. It can all run concurrently. That's the beauty of it. So I'm going to be kind of moving out of the presentation mode for a little bit. I'm going to start a video demo on the JAFT tool. Just bear with me while I make this shift. I hope you're able to see my screen. So what is there in front of you is a simple test link system, and for probably those who haven't used TestLink in the past, TestLink is used for test management. This is where you can document all your test cases centrally. So some of you who might be used to Excel, some of you might have used other test management tools. For the purpose of demo, we have used TestLink and Jira in this video. So what I'm essentially going to be doing is I've picked up a custom code to cache process, and I'm running it all the way from your test management system to the fact that there are bugs raised on the system and there is a report that is generated at the end of the test. So it's for a simple business process. It's for a simple customized business process. So just like how we have customized it for this case, it can be customized for any different modules in Oracle that you use today. So I'm going to start the demo. I'm going to also start the video. I'm going to pause it at different times just to kind of speak a little bit about what's happening and why we have kind of made the framework as it is. So this video is this kind of slowed down version of the actual automation tool. So the actual automation will actually go pretty fast. Because it will go so fast, we have to kind of did a slow motion version of that video for you. So I've just started the automation. So this is, it says, okay, we've started the test execution. This is the test management tool integrated with the automation solution. And this is where your test cases are documented. So we're going to be testing a simple code to cache business process. And the next second you'll see an Excel driven approach. I'm going to pause here a little bit. I'm just going to explain what this is all about. So what happens is you navigate during your business process or during the process of fulfilling your steps in a business process. You're going to be needing a lot of test data. So where does the test data come from? Does the test data come from an Excel? The test data can come from a database. It's all up to us to define what that is. In this example, we have taken an Excel and we have taken a simple one row case in which that is the data that's going to get fed to the Oracle form. If you see the two columns that is blank at the moment, that is the customer PO and the quote number. It's purposely kept blank because these two items will get generated during the process, and the generated output, whatever the customer PO is, will get updated back into this Excel. So you can also manually validate everything is happened. Apart from that, the system also does database validations. So apart from GUI related validations, there is database validations as well. So now imagine this Excel with a list of probably 100 data sets for a particular form. You want to be running many multiple positive and negative test cases. And all you have to do is just have this Excel and reuse it all the time. And you could have a cleanup script for your database to kind of remove this data when you do the next run. So that's how simple our framework has made data management possible. And I think this is a big USP, especially in case of an Oracle EBS system, simply because there is far too many forms, far too many fields. It's a very, very painful process for a tester to be going kind of putting in all those data manually, typing in all that data manually. So many cases we have seen a lot of manual users coming and thanking us just for this, because this is Excel is basically a data-driven approach in which you have your data set already managed in an Excel. It can be picked up and run recursively against the system. So I'm going to kind of start the video again. So what happens from here is we are going to be actually invoking the JAFT framework, and the automation execution begins. It automatically triggers the Oracle system. It starts off with automatically logging into the Oracle system, your eBusiness suite, and we are going to be doing the new order creation. So whatever data you saw in the Excel, they are getting entered in this form now. It's automatically getting picked up from the Excel and loaded into this form. So as you can see, there are a lot of form fields. It's painful to be doing this manually and painful to be doing it manually repeatedly. So what really we are doing is we can recursively test this in a program manner and test out various positive and negative scenarios. In this scenario, it's a positive case scenario in which we are going to be entering the order information first and then the line items. We have kind of slowed this down for you to be able to see this clearly. Otherwise, usually what would happen is as soon as the Oracle form opens, it kind of puts in all those data immediately and kind of goes forward. So the quote number is generated here, and it kind of will move on to the next screen. So this is a customized process, and similar to this, there are many other processes. There is no limit to it. Whatever that can be done manually can be automated using these processes. So the line items are getting entered here as part of the order fulfillment cycle. And as you can see, the framework can handle various different objects that are there in the Oracle form. Now this was not possible before with just the Selenium framework. This is all possible because of our custom framework that we deployed over and above the plain vanilla Selenium instance. So here is how the sales order is getting created. The order has been booked. That's a successful positive case. And then in this custom process, it goes from here to creating a request set as part of the process. So here is how the request set happens. As you can see, there are different types of objects. We particularly selected this example to just show you the different kind of objects, pop-ups that come in typically in an Oracle form scenario. And our framework recognizes all of these parameters. So here is the auto invoice request set as part of the process. Your process might be different to this, but that's fine as long as it's an Oracle form with different fields. Our system can recognize this. The key to all of this is really understanding your manual processes. Usually what we do is before we embark on an automation scripting, we go through your manual process in detail. We understand your manual process in detail and we kind of modularize that, extend that, and create reusable objects So that, for example, if this form is going to be coming in multiple other places, we'll use that in the library rather, so that it can be reused. So you see in this case, the request has been submitted successfully, it's moving ahead. And after that, there's just a new transaction. It's again one of the other functional check. If you want to be checking what has already happened using other module just to check whether it has progressed through, for example, it can be flowing through one module to other, from one user to other, might be a GL, might be from GL to AR, and all different kinds of workflows that you would have customized. All of that can be done. I'm going to just pause here at the moment. So what has happened really is we have run the code to cache process. The tests have already run successful. There is this inbuilt reporting that's generated immediately after the test. Now the same report will also get emailed to your inbox. There will be a summary report as well as a detailed report. I'm just going to kind of run the video, continue the video as we continue to see that. There will be a lot of information that will be given about the test case. All the steps are documented, so it becomes easy for any developer to debug. And what the beauty of it is, you go back to TestLink, which was your test management tool in this case, and all the results are updated back here automatically. So your test cases are marked as passed. Your Excel is updated with the code PO number and the code number that you just generated a minute back. And here is the email summary. So in this case, we have taken a blank template to show you the email summary, but this email template is basically an HTML report, and it can be customized with your company logos, with specific department specific backgrounds and all of that. And as you can see, this was a simple case of 4 test cases running, and that all 4 were passed. So you can see an all green box on the left, 4 pass, 0 fail, and the code to cache process ran. Okay. And for a detailed report, there is also a link on the left side. If you click that, it opens kind of an HTML page. And again, this HTML page kind of gives you a detailed drill down, a very, very detailed drill down on all the test cases that you would run. Now imagine a few thousand test cases with all the details already in place when you return in the next morning or during a few hours of running. And this is how the summary can be there. So for every module or test case that you have, all of the split up is here. The screenshots are there. Even for the positive and the negative cases, you can configure the system if you don't want it for a positive test case. But for the negative test case, we recommend a screenshot. So here is one more example that I'm going to run to just show a failed test case. Now what we have done is we have purposely made sure that an Oracle form fails, it doesn't run. Okay, and what happens next? So here's we are trying to fire in an Oracle instance a particular form. Again, automatically from the system is firing this test case. And what you really see, the system is not responding now. There is some issue. There is some issue in the form is not opening. So there is a big exception that we have captured already, if you see in this page in red. Now what happens after this, I've just paused the video for a second, is this will get raised as a bug in your defect testing tool. In this case, we have integrated, for this purpose of the demo, we have integrated with Jira. So the bug gets raised on Jira, the screenshots get passed on to Jira. And this is also cross-referenced in your test management tool. So you have your entire history documented. There is the entire thread, right from a test management to the bug tracking tool, is all held together. The links are all cross-linked. I'm going to just run the video to show you that. So why did it really fail? So we're going to, if you see this, the test link is now automatically updated with the fail case. There's also a bug ID that's put in here. Now whatever, so that's how we are cross-referencing between Jira and TestLink as well. So whatever defect that you raise on Jira, that gets automatically updated on TestLink as well, which means the developer and the tester are in complete sync with what happens. You don't have to, we generally see the developers and the testers kind of doing a lot of ping pong when some kind of a defect happens, right? I see we sometimes spend days together in just explaining him under what test case, under what scenario, under what steps, how do you reproduce it. All this is a pain, and it causes, we lose time in the process of fixing that bug. Whereas the beauty of the system is right from the test link to the Jira, all of that is captured beautifully. Your whole process is anyways recorded. Your screenshots are there, your logs are there, so it becomes very easy for a developer to relate what a QA tester is implying. I'm going to continue the run. So the bug is pushed in Jira. Here is a Jira screen. If you see, I'm going to pause this again for a second. So here is how it will be. The new bug is created with test link, and the bug is generated in Jira. All of the steps that were in place in terms of the bug to happen, at what step it failed, will all be documented clearly. There will be screenshots uploaded. So there's also the HTML report is referenced here, and if you open the HTML report, it will show you there's this bug that failed. There will be a link to the Jira bug. There will be the screenshot at what step it failed. There will also be the exception log that will be captured and given to the developer. So it makes the developer's life really easy. It gives him where exactly it failed, which kind of expedites the time that he takes in terms of fixing it. So that's where the testing XJLC is improved. So that's really the end of this demo. So the purpose of this demo was to just kind of simply show you how we kind of move in multiple positive and negative test cases. Okay, and with this we end the video demo. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of have this last slide, which is kind of just some concluding items. What I think is the value proposition in JAFT. We are very proud of it. It's an industry first. We have seen huge demand in the EBS with our EBS customers using JAFT. A lot of them are both struggling with manual testing tools or manual processes, or some who have kind of been in using paid automation tools. So JAFT is built on open source. It's free. There's no license ever. It runs on a simple desktop grade server. You don't need to have separate dedicated environments. Your development environments can work from your automation tester's laptop, literally. It's very lightweight because it's Java. It has end-to-end automation capability, as I showed you, right from picking up a test case from an Excel or a test link or a centralized repository, all the way to raising a bug and showing the developer where exactly the problem is. We see a 30% reduction in average development phase time if we use this framework. We have benchmarked this extensively. Then it shows the QA director and consolidated summary. Now, this was a simple case in which we just ran 4 or 5 test cases, a couple of positive and negative scenarios. Imagine this running across your entire regression testing suite, a few hundred or a few thousand test cases that run concurrently overnight. And kind of the next day morning, all you have to do is just sip your tea and just look at the report and let the developer do his hard work of fixing the bugs. So that's how this makes the SDLC cycle significantly efficient. You achieve high productivity, and the maintenance of this is very low. As I said, the only time you really need to maintain this is when the source application and test actually changes. So if there is a screen that changes, or if you are adding new fields in your forms, then there is a question of also enhancing your automation scripts. So with this, I kind of end this presentation, and I thank you for being patient with me and hearing me out and kind of running through the video demo.
Okay. So a little bit about our company before you leave. So Jade Global is headquartered at San Jose, California, with offices in Los Angeles, New Jersey, Orange County, San Diego, and India. If you have any questions or want to know more about our solutions and services, then please call us on the numbers displaying on your screen right now, or you can also email us at marketing@jadeglobal.com, or also reach out to Amit at amit.iyer@jadeglobal.com. That is amit.iyer@jadeglobal.com. We'll help out with any query you have, and thank you very much for attending the webinar, and we will talk to you soon. Have a great day.